There is no light. The silvery leaves quake on their branches from the gentle breeze.
There is no gentleness. The muted colors of autumn, the dark reds, the faded yellows, and the dulled oranges have fallen to the ground.
There is no light. The joys of laughter and hope, of expectation and possibility are quieted.
There is no light. The promise of a new tomorrow, of a new way of living and being, is battered and bruised.
There is only a glimmer of light. That place that is deep within us and that is deep within our earth feels morally wounded.
The tears and anger, the fears and dismay, the words of WTF, and how can this be, are heard and felt and shared. There is a sense of growing light.
Pain and suffering, we must reach out and connect. The light shines dimly in each of us.
This tragedy will help to steel our souls and recommit our hearts to action and purpose, and to gather as a people of loving kindness. There is a new light.
It is our duty as caring, loving, living, and breathing human beings to become more, to become transformed in this difficult time.
The light that shines within each of us will be our guide. Our connectedness and never wavering appreciation of truth and beauty will inspire and support us in this journey. We are becoming the light for all to see, for all to take comfort and know.
We will become the light to help those less fortunate and less brave.
We will become the light that shines, giving ourselves and others the strength and courage needed to overcome the darkness. There is a light. We are that light. No, don't go anywhere.
As we light our chalice this morning, bring what you have. Bring what you have. A makeshift tent, a 29,000 square foot mansion. Mix them into small, comfortable homes. Bring what you have. A single slice of white bread, a $350 per plate banquet. Mix them into simple, nutritious meals. We could do this. We could erase the divisions if love was all that filled our hearts and minds. But for now, bring what you have.
Welcome. Welcome to the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or ERUUF, as we like to say. My name is Reverend Jacqueline Brett. I'm the lead minister here, and whoever you all are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender identities, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey or in your search for truth, for meaning, for freedom and liberation, know that you are welcome here in beloved community. If you're visiting with us for the first or maybe even the second time this morning, I invite you to rise in body or spirit so that we might give you an ERUUF welcome. Welcome, and thank you all so very much for choosing to spend this Sunday morning with us, which is the Sunday of our annual poetry service, and you'll be hearing a little bit more about that later. Now would be a great time to turn off or down any devices you might have on your person. Or don't turn them off, just turn them down into worship mode. That would be just fine. And for those of you who are visiting, directly after this service, in the building next door, the Commons Room, you'll be able to, if you are welcome and invited to participate in a class called Inquirers for Visitors and Newcomers. It's a class during which you will get a chance to learn about us and share some things about yourself as well. And it just so happens that I'm teaching that class this morning, and you'll get to learn how we do worship here and what our perspectives are about that. So I hope you'll show up. Actually, anybody can come to that class. So today is Generosity Sunday, a day during which we give our Sunday collection to a local nonprofit organization whose work aligns with our Unitarian Universalist values. Here to tell us about the work of Reality Ministries is Quinn Holmquist.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful to be here and have already felt the welcome of this community, so thank you. I look forward to hearing more and sharing more after the service. I'm going to share a little bit about where I work, Reality Ministries now, and I'll start with a quote by, it's fitting, I wrote this way before I knew this was Poetry Sunday, but by a poet named Mary Oliver. Sometimes I need only to stand wherever I am to be blessed. Here I stand, feeling that blessing today before you all, feeling the welcome of that blessing. And there I stood in the fall of 2022 at the Reality Center, feeling that blessing. It was a Thursday night, and we were playing a time-honored tradition at Reality called the baby game. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. Here's how it works. The task is simple. A picture of a mysterious baby appears on the screen, and all of us who know each other very well try to guess who the baby is. And so that's what we did. The pictures scrolled, each one cuter and funnier than the last. There's a tiny being held by her mom beside her crib, and that was Megan. Then there was a little stud posing beside a desk like he owned the place, because he probably did. That was Carlos. Then a sauce-bearded boy, face splattered with spaghetti like he had slept in it, which he probably did. That was me. Sometimes the nameless babies stumped us. We needed many clues from the game hosts to figure it out. Other times we got the pictures right away, but no one was faster at guessing the pictures than our friend Sydney. Friend after friend, Sydney guessed every one of them correctly and so quickly. It was uncanny and it was beautiful. Sydney doesn't read or drive. Sydney might not be able to remember a 3-step process, but Sydney knows us, his friends, the ones he loves. And that's what mattered on that Thursday night. Sometimes Sydney even recognized the baby in the picture before they recognized themselves. We often talk at Reality Ministries, where I work, about being known, but it's hard to articulate what that feels like. As Sydney shouted off name after correct name of these babies, pictures of his friends, pictures captured before we even knew our names, it struck me that that is being known. And this is Reality Ministries, a place where you are known deeply, a place where you belong. So why do we exist? Why does Reality exist? And I'll tell you more about what we are. So after graduating high school, most people with intellectual and developmental disabilities enter somewhat of a void. Jobs are hard to come by, transportation is pretty inaccessible, and friends who will know you, friends who will celebrate your birthday, friends who will recognize your baby picture are nowhere to be found. And this is where Reality comes in. We are a community of about 600 friends with and without disabilities, creating opportunities and places to belong. And we live into this mission in the most beautiful of ways. We take care of each other's babies. Many of us live together in a neighborhood in downtown Durham. We laugh together. We have a talent show. We have a cafe. We go on vacation together. In fact, as we speak, there's a group of about 50 people caravanning up to a lake in Virginia for a day on the boat and fishing. And all of these are ways that we create friendship and opportunities for people to belong. And there's many ways for y'all to get involved in this beautiful community. It's a really beautiful space. And I've been involved since I was a freshman in college, a first year of college at Duke, and I've kind of grown up there. And I'm 13 years later. The same people who are welcoming me as a first year at Duke are now holding my child. And so it's a really just, we are together for life. You can volunteer. It's usually an hour and a half a week commitment. We thank you today so deeply for your gifts. That's a big way we are supported. 70% of our funding comes from individuals. You can join us at our community events, like the talent show, which is at the DPAC every November. And we have a community worship. We have a cafe. The next one's this Friday. And here's the great news, is that you're already a part of us just by being here today. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for hearing. I will be in the fellowship hall after the service. I would love to talk more and share more stories. And I'm so grateful that y'all have me today. Thank you so much.
Okay. Right now is a good time for the smallest and tallest and youngest, and even those of us of a particular age like myself, to come on down to hear the story for today. Hi. Y'all are beautiful. All right. Come on down. Hi. Come on down. All right, great. Today, we're going to read a book called Poetry. How many of you have ever done poetry? Really? I like poetry too. The snow had melted. The buttercups were blooming, and Sylvia celebrated winter's end by writing a poem about spring. What is a poem? Go ahead. What is a poem? Wow. Okay, a poem is a way to express yourself with feelings and words and rhymes. That is an outstanding answer. That's right. She walked with Shell to the park at the top of the hill and read it to a squirrel. Spring is here at last. I hope it doesn't end too fast. Like a bee, I'll sniff each flower and I'll enjoy each springy hour so much. The squirrel seemed grateful. Sylvia tied her poem to a birch tree and headed home, hoping that it didn't count as littering if it made the world more splendid. The next morning, Sylvia passed the birch on her way to school. From a distance, she saw her poem fluttering in the breeze. But when she got closer, she realized that it wasn't her poem at all. I think spring is the best of the seasons for plenty of excellent reasons. Like birdie parents building nests where all the baby birds can rest and play. Sylvia's heart did a somersault. She never imagined the tree might write back. Do you think the tree wrote back? No. Well, let's find out. In class, Sylvia daydreamed about her new leafy friend. "Sylvia, please pay attention," said Ms. Oliver. "Yes, Sylvia," whispered Walt, the boy sitting behind her. Their classmates giggled, and Sylvia sank in her seat. Why do you think Sylvia sank? Because maybe her seat was too little for her. Makes sense. Why else do you think she might have sank? She was very embarrassed. Yes. After lunch, Ms. Oliver taught the class about haiku. Sylvia struggled to contain her excitement in 17 syllables. "White birch on the hill speaks out loud through rustling leaves. Great green poetry." Ms. Oliver gave Sylvia a gold star. What does a gold star mean? Does anyone know why she got a gold star? Yes, ma'am. Because she did a good job. That's right. When the bell rang, Sylvia ran straight to the poetry. She folded her haiku paper. That's right. That's right. Sylvia ran straight to the poetry. She folded her haiku into a paper boat and pushed it halfway into a knothole. "So what's your name?" Sylvia asked the tree. But the tree stood in silence. "Are you shy like me?" The tree nodded in the breeze, and Sylvia understood. That night, Sylvia dreamed of rhymes falling like autumn leaves. She dreamed of cheerful songbirds greeting her in perfect rhythm. That's right. On Saturday morning, Sylvia rushed to the park with a heart full of hope. The knothole was empty, and she saw no notes on the branches. But the whisper of the wind in the leaves above her was like a poem. Sylvia looked up and saw fragments of sky peeking through the treetop. She spoke the words as they blossomed into her mind. Sky so blue, grass so green, tree so tall in between. Favorite friend in morning light and under moon glow late at night. It's a pretty good poem, huh? Sylvia selected a twig from the ground and gripped it like a pencil. "By Sylvia," she wrote in the air, but that didn't seem right. "Love, Sylvia." She waved her stick with a flourish, accidentally hitting a branch. A tightly folded ninja star fell to her feet. Sylvia couldn't unfold it fast enough. Let's see what's in the ninja star. "I've wondered a while, can a tree and child be friends? Your words give me hope." Sylvia felt a spark in her heart. Good good thing she brought sidewalk chalk. She scrawled in big blocky letters so the birch could see. I never thought that I would see such lovely poems from a tree. I wish that I could climb and live among the words you love to give. I sure would miss my family, especially Shell. Sylvia thought it was the greatest thing she had written in all her years around the poetry. It was stronger, wiser, and kinder than the children at school. She knew she would always have a friend at the park. She didn't open her eyes until Shell barked. Walt was there, staring at the ninja star haiku sticking out of Sylvia's pocket. That's not for you. That's for my tree. Sylvia blinked. It was from the tree, just for me. Walt shook his head. Sylvia didn't understand. Had the tree she loved so much not given her a thing? What do you think is happening? The dog got it from her. Got it. So is the tree, do you think the tree is writing to both of them? No. You think the squirrel is? I got it. Absolutely. Anyone else? Okay, let's find out. Sylvia didn't want to cry, not at the park. Walt didn't want her to cry either. I'm sorry I was mean at school, he said. Sylvia smiled. Sometimes all you have to do is say you're sorry, right? That's right, and then people feel better. A friend of the tree is okay with me. Walt read Sylvia's chalk poem out loud. You're a wonderful poet, he said. You deserve that gold star. But who is Shell? Sylvia pointed. My best friend's name is Shell. I think he likes the way you smell. I can tell, added Walt. The two poets giggled. Can I borrow your chalk? Walt composed a new poem next to Sylvia's. If you want to share a poem with me, give it to the tall birch tree. Or if you need a friend for writing, playing with, or sit besiding, I'll be here for you joyfully, right beneath the poetry. The new friends sat a while side by side, backs against the birch. Sunlight and shadows danced through the leaves above them as they silently searched for the most marvelous words to describe it all. So who does it look like has been doing the writing after all? The tree? Trees do not have arms, okay? That's right. Right. That's right. Is it possible that Walt and Sylvia have been writing to each other and putting it in the tree, and so they thought the tree was writing? Absolutely. You guys did great. We're going to sing you out now.
Peace, salam, shalom. 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 please take this time to turn and greet your neighbor, especially if your neighbor is someone you don't know.
I invite you to join me for words of prayer and reflection. Today, I pray not for me, but for the thousands upon thousands of people who sit in cold, callous detention centers, a world away from home, without love, comfort, warmth, separated from their husbands, wives, their aunts and uncles, their grandparents, neighbors, friends, from their children. I pray for those whose only crime was existing in a country of ideals that the current leaders fail to uphold and care no bit for the suffering that they cause. How I imagine the overwhelming fear that seized them as they were ripped from their homes and streets, treated as if they were simply nothing more than gnats needing to be squashed, though I would argue gnats are treated better. I pray for the young scientist who longs to see her lab again, the stylist who wants nothing more than to be in the safety of his salon. I pray for the dissenters whose only crime was to speak out in a country that misled them into thinking that that was their protected rights. Oh, how I pray I had a magic key, a key that would release them all, no questions asked. But alas, such an instrument doesn't exist, though I so desperately wish it did. I ask, how do you breathe, live, laugh, when there are so many who are beaten, humiliated, and stripped into silence? I pray that I can find the answer. I know I cannot fix what has been done, but I pray for guidance on what I can do, for surely there must be something I can do. May it be so, and blessed be.
We hold in our hearts great compassion for all beings who are experiencing sorrow and suffering at this time, both within our local communities and in our world. We especially send our energies and offer prayers for the well-being of those who are experiencing any form of trauma, violence, or devastation due to war, climate displacement, hunger, injury, illness, or the loss of loved ones. We pray also for the health of our planet that nurtures our lives. And we recognize the concerns of those here in our ERUUF community. We are holding Joyce Kerpiers, who lost her father in a sudden accident this past week. We hold them in their grief and wish them comfort. We continue to offer our condolences to the friends and family of Atreus Good. There will be a celebration of his life here at ERUUF next Saturday, June 14th at 2 p.m. We also join with those who are experiencing joys and celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and other milestones. And beloved community, we also hold in our hearts the unspoken concerns and joys among us. Let us hold all of this in a moment of silence. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Please join me in singing Spirit of Life, our meditation hymn. It's number 123 in the gray hymnal, and the lyrics are on the screen.
So each fall and spring, I share one of my favorite spiritual practices in a class called Poetry as Sacred Practice. Though I generally read poetry, this is a class about both reading and writing it. Not to perfect the writing of poetry, but to engage in the practice of being present, noticing and acknowledging the poetry present in our days. We work with collections of poetry to inspire us, and the ask for the class is to simply show up at each meeting with something you have written based on the theme we are exploring and reflections upon your life. We offer no critique of one another's work, simply a pause between each reading without praise or advice, but rather providing the gift of our listening and holding the words we have just heard in quiet reflection. The outcome is not only the exercise of slowing down our lives to become present to its poetry. Excuse me, I need to drink. Becoming present to my dry mouth. As I was saying, the outcome is not only the exercise of slowing down our lives to become present to its poetry, but also that of reflecting upon the contents of our hearts and the vulnerability in sharing those contents with others who are there to hold our sharing, not to judge it. As a result, each group of participants who remain with the class to the very end has formed a close and sacred circle together. In her essay, Poetry is Prayer, the writer Hae-jung Kook asks, "What do you hear in your stillness?" We often can be so swamped by the external demands of life that we become only reactive and continually outward-facing. To see what happens when we are still and receptive to our own hearts can feel like a terrifying prospect. But vulnerability is required for prayer and poetry. When our sense of self is shaken, we have to imagine new ways of being and relating to the world. Hae-jung Kook. She suggests poetry as a way to reach openness in imagining new ways of being and relating to the world when our hearts are shaken. So this spring, as many of us have had heavy hearts about the chaotic and frightening direction our country has taken, I invited participants in the class to explore the poetic forms found in sacred writings of prayers and lamentations, blessings, and psalms. So each of these sacred writings has a particular purpose and form. Prayers are a form of communication to that which is beyond ourselves, through an expression of the content of one's heart in a request, a thank you, or simply the act of connecting. You heard Stephanie Turner's prayer just a moment ago during the Words for Prayer and Reflection. Thank you, Stephanie. Laments or lamentations express grief, sorrow, or protest. They validate pain, mourning, or loss while often pointing toward hope and healing. They often confront the divine or existence through rhetorical questions or direct challenges, which most often lead to reflection and a longing for justice or restoration. A blessing is a timed or situational expression that confers goodwill, protection, or sacred quality upon people, objects, or moments. It often affirms and makes sacred our lives' transitions, such as child dedications, weddings, or celebrations of life. A psalm is a lyric poem that expresses adoration, praise, confession, lament, or a mixture of all of these. Traditionally, psalms are meant to evoke a meditative or ritual response. Today's opening words were by class participant Deborah Smiley, who couldn't be here today, but she gave us that psalm. At the root of each of these forms is the prayer, of which Hae-jung Kook says, poetry, like prayer, comes out of urgency and necessity and at times desperation. Both involve a calling out from the heart, addressed to an other with the hope of being heard. And she also acknowledges that reliance on particular forms and formulas alone only goes just far. When we are in extremity, she says, when we are calling out in desperation, there is a place where the only thing that will work is to make anew, where no old form has the answer. So what you are all about to experience today is the making anew of these old forms and reflections about life, its loves, its joys, sorrows, and great frustrations. We ask only one thing of you, and that is that you refrain from applause between readings and simply hold with the poets a sacred pause as you reflect upon what you have just heard. We shall begin with a prayer and lamentations and then blessings. Today's poets in order of appearance are Karen Wysocki, Leigh Babaian, and I will be reading for Julie Edmunds, who could not be here today because she's ill, Paul Baerman, Jonathan Sheline, Stephanie Turner, and Barbara Sheline.
What is a poem if not a prayer, asking that both writer and reader be changed?
Oh, America, bless your heart. Voting for change, mightily believing the BS, or at least dismissing the chaos. 85 days in, and big changes have been delivered to the markets, our standing, our friends, our soft power, and thus our possibilities. Are we great yet? Change is indeed a massive cask of empty promises which non-believers knew was fake news. But I guess this really is us, rubbing that snake oil into our skin until it's so slick that the truth slides right off, even when it's sitting in our laps like a giant white elephant. Breathe in that soon-to-be pollution-filled air. Can you smell it? The mixture of coal and tears and smoke from the fire of the pilot crashing the plane into our money pit of tax dollars. Not his, no, he's too smart, wearing his supreme protective suit of lawyers. I wonder what it feels like for a body to run on a heart filled with KFC and jealousy, because it sure doesn't feel good to watch the injustices pile up, like the fingers pointing blame at others, like the lies spewed on Truth Social, like the backs turned on our children in need. What does retribution look like for us? After all, we did this to ourselves. As I am painfully aware in this moment, we are in this together. Maybe it's enough for the curtain to start to be pulled back little by little, as hard and slow as it might be. Can I build the courage to look at the other eye to eye? My dad used to tell me that he could trust that I would be the better person in tough situations. I wish I had his encouragement today. I remember how Dorothy discovered what she needed was there inside her all along. Let's focus on moving forward. Find the helpers, regenerate and fellowship. Lock arms with your bullheaded friends and family who refuse to give up on the dream that was MLK's America, a more perfect union.
To those who care for the sleepers, Hypnos, Somnos, Tutu, and others whose names are lost, I ask, why have you forsaken me? Why do you love only the young who rail against you with clenched fists and need wooing, while you despise we who entreat you and beg you to stay the night with us? Why do you favor only the calm, the placid, those where you can slip in, while ignoring we who have racing, worrying minds that need the oblivion of sleep and the sense-making of dreams? Why do you nurture only those with sound bodies and relaxed limbs, while you starve we who need rest for aching joints and cramping muscles? Have we only a set number of hours that we have already spent? Or are we holding on to our wakeful hours, knowing that eternal sleep grows ever near? Does your forsaking have meaning? I ask of you.
Here at the Institute of Grief, we understand how pen longs for ink, how thunder calls to lightning, how water yearns for the well. Not all who wander are found. Our ground floor houses the Museum of Love with its one guest, you. Our curator, also you, glides among musty shelves filled with relics of your former self, tickets to shows, unused, sherry left in the glass, a goodbye kiss, refused. In April, we send you flowers, Lenten roses hollowed like inkwells, and rain to tincture tears. Use these. Among the willows, you'll notice a mourning cloak, Nymphalis antiopa, who drifts from tree to tree, harvesting light. You're welcome. Little else remains to be said. The abyss asks only to be lit. Hey, thanks for being a sustainer.
"18 years ago, I flew to the hospital in South Florida where my mom was technically alive because her heart was beating, but only due to strong drugs. I saw that her pupils were fixed and dilated, meaning her brain had already died. I learned she'd had a big pulmonary embolism which cut off oxygen to the brain. I was grateful that her body was still warm, and I hugged her and told her I loved her, knowing she almost certainly couldn't hear me. How could I ever thank her for always being my supporter, for bathing my head with a cool washcloth when I had a fever as a child, for typing my papers in high school, for her unconditional mother's love. By then I had 2 children in college, so I appreciated what it takes to be a good parent. But I didn't know how it felt to lose my one and only mother. All these years later, I suppose I still haven't fully grieved that loss. The tears still come, especially when I hear some of her favorite songs. She taught me to laugh, to dance, and to look on the bright side. I was the one who had to decide on that day, along with my sister and brother, that it was time to turn off the cardiac drugs and let her go peacefully. So we watched the monitor as her heart gradually stopped beating. And I felt helpless and sad, but also incredibly thankful that I got to share so much time with this beautiful, courageous, strong woman who was my mother.
Dear Mother Earth, as I sit amidst your slender, mighty giants, serenaded by the bristling branches, the flowing creek, the chattering birds, I beseech the greater forces. How many more days will be like this? I wish I knew. Every day, it seems like you weep more. I feel you dying slowly underneath me, and I feel utterly helpless, for I have no cure. I have no way to save you. How I long for the forces that seek to tear you down, to evaporate as the fallen rain does on a hot day. How I long to stand up and shield you, to protect you. What malicious malice walks among the shadows with nothing but greed and profit in their hearts? Do they not know the damage their policy rollbacks and layoffs will cause, or do they just simply not care? I fear it is the latter. But as the sun's embrace tightens upon me, I look up at my tall companion. How many storms has this tree endured? How many seasons have tested its limbs? How many birds, squirrels, and other critters and bugs have called it home? And then I am reminded that no one is as strong or as self-sufficient as Mother Earth. I take comfort in her strength, her resilience, but I also know, as hard as she tries, she cannot keep fighting alone. She needs our help. I wish I had the magic solution, the magic answer. I think so many of us do. But all I do know is that for today, we can keep loving her. We can keep showing up. We can keep making decisions with her health in mind. And next time you find yourself in her presence, be it in the woods or in your yard, just stop. Close your eyes. Feel the sun's embrace. Listen to the cardinals and robins talk and chatter as the squirrels skid and scatter. And find grace in her presence today.
Lord of the broken heart beat, patron of chaos, broker of loss, I call upon you who designed the cat in your image, evidently, severe, demeaning, demanding, exulting in fallen things. Bone breaker, who gives us leave to speak so we can learn to beg. I adjure you, maker of cats, do not show me your backside. You who in more expansive mood made dogs too, then took the best of them in a frenzy of seizures. Apollo of the love-locked gaze, my beloved retriever, leaper of fences, fellow sleeper. Come, sit, stay, dog thief. My friend is dead. What tastes of ash was once so lovely, so lovely. Here in death's dominion, I know only a remembered sweetness that turns memories to stone. No ghosts will play fetch with me. No tutelary pagan minds the stairs to rout, cow confront the intruder. No thump of tail or lolling of tongue to defuse my temper. And you, what have you to say, O leader of the pack? What have you to say to this fallen thing, left with an unfeeling feline whose witness is the waking when you forget why you grieve, who dismisses my pleas and thank you with patrician disinterest, who leaves like an exhalation, who comes whenever. Silence. So, cat, scourge of the butter dish, guarantor of breakage, genius of the hard hours, having no words, but my friend is dead, I call upon you. Come, kitty, rest here, just here, over my heart. I adjure thee, do not show me your backside this once.
Smell of a field of grass in the morning in Florida, out beyond the runway at the airport on a June day that promises to be a hot one, with blackberries all around for the picking. The smell of a breakfast campfire at 11,000 feet in northern New Mexico, which comes to me on a crisp breeze blowing across the lake. The smell of cypress trees and dampness, sitting on a motorboat with the engine off in the middle of Lake Bradford in Tallahassee, watching the sunset with a friend. The smell of a salty breeze whipping across the harbor in Maine, with seagulls screaming all around, on a day in late February that hints of spring, only to be followed by days so cold that the inside of my nose freezes as soon as I walk outside. The smell of creosote brush on a hot coastal wind that blows in my face as I ride down the open road in Mexico the summer after college graduation with a buddy from high school, a full tank of gas, mountains rising up into the sky in front of us.
A blessing for calm. Watching Corey play alone with the toy barn, animals placed from barn to pen and back again. Reading before nap time, singing before nap time, pushing Corey in the swing over and over and over until she says, "Enough." Sitting together in the backyard swing, watching the mommy and daddy bluebirds come again and again to feed their babies. At the library, walking around Duke Gardens. A blessing for busy meal times, jumping on the bed, going to the grocery store together, singing Corey a new song and having to repeat it over and over and over again until she learns it. Doggy in the window, Thumbelina, Inchworm, walking to Googlehof twice for breakfast. At the playground, out of the swing, I need to go potty.
You deserve better than this nonsense. You hear it and you've heard it. This is not right or normal or good. I escape into the daily activities of life: sleep, work, school, softball, dance, tutor, chorus, Girl Scouts, fun, fellowship, dinner, email, calendar, scroll, laundry, podcast, homework, exercise, groceries, dishes, wine, and TV, and the occasional, maybe frequent, outburst of incredulity. Call Tom Tillis. It's not a laughing matter, but I gravitate to the late-night comedy of the situation because I do enough crying. Kiki blames everything on him, but we know what it feels like to be right and still lose. It's best we take these lessons and build a strategy to move forward. Create your super suit. Put each foot in. Stretch it over your perfect, innocent female bodies. Add your flair of glitter and tulle, and patch the holes from the constant deflection of bullets in our public spaces. Intelligence is not a sin. Empathy is a strength. I would rather be a loser than cruel, because I'm still with her, and I hope you're with me.
to be as I am and to see myself clearly, to be as I seek to be and to be dreaming, to be as I cannot and to recognize that, to be as I should, but not too much, to be as I should not and just enough, to be as I am and to love myself. These blessings I send to the deepest part of me.
Bless the imperfect, the rocks and withering leaves, the messes, the loving people who create them. The creation came first, the mess, evidence of love. Bless love in all its forms, water droplets on leaves, tears watering in eyes, waves rolling in oceans, breaking at the shore, then rolling again and again. Bless those who say, I may bend, but I will not break, over and over.
Go now, my youth, and vanish from my preoccupations. Of course, you are long gone. Only I was young for such a long time. I hope I have enough time left to burrow into being old, with age's purported wisdom, souvenirs, box after unopened box I've carried from house to house. I was there. Do I really need mementos? Youth, you did your work, you grew me up, but you didn't train me on the new curriculum. Dispersal, only gathering, always gathering more. Whatever it is that age does, I hope I am ready to do it. A little faith and lifelong learning. May I feed it and grow it. May it go with me to the end. So each Sunday, we all know that it takes a lot to do that, and to take the time to do that, to make the space to do that, to weave beloved community together. It does indeed take our time. It takes our talent, our gifts, our treasure, our being together. And so as the greeters come forward to take up this morning's offering, we invite you, if you do not have something to place into the collection pouch, you may direct your device to the QR code on the screen, and your device will be taken to our giving portal. And remember, everything that you give today goes to the fine work of Reality Ministries. So we hope that you will be generous. We give thanks for all of the many gifts of beloved community, and I invite our poets to come forward so that we might appreciate them. And we will, Kate and Paul will, and Wendy, Wendy will lead us in the closing hymn. You can remain standing.
Please join me in singing Love Will Guide Us, and please rise in body or spirit. Number 131 in the gray hymnal. The lyrics are also on the screen.
You can come back this way. As you leave this place today, may your hearts and minds be filled with new thoughts to ponder and reflections upon the state of your own being and ours too. As your journey leads you through the week ahead, may you be fully present to all that life is offering you, even when it might appear that it is taking much away. Through it all, may you be present to the poetry in each of your days and honor your wise heart's need to give thanks and praise, to mourn and grieve, to shake your fist at the heavens, and to express gratitude for the knowing that you may return here again to this place where you were known to be worthy, accepted as whole, and loved because you are. Go in peace, my friends. Go with courage and know that you are not alone. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Oh.